Zoros Media boys in the room. What's
What is
going
up?
on?
What is up, bro? Will I ever get this timer right? I'm always 5 seconds late, bro. Far out.
Oh, cause you're seeing it from YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Far out. I tried. How is everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Hit It Where It Hurts. We had a big night last night. Thank you everyone for coming out last night. That was a great episode. Really enjoyed it. And today's episode is for those on the same journey as us or similar journeys, wherever you are. We want to talk about trusting the process, loving the process, and not falling in love with the results.
100%. And as you can see, we're always going hard. Like right now, me and Mark are both dead. Even though we're both dead, we're loving the process. We're loving what we do, whether it's uni, cap, or or Zoros Media. Like we love that shit. So you just gotta fall in love with what you do if you want to continue doing it.
For sure. And like at the end of the day, bro, what's the difference between this and a 9 to 5 job if we don't love it, right? If we're
100%.
not sitting here, like, bro, when we're doing our social media stuff, bro, that shit's so fun for us. Like, bro, we'll
Straight
be
up.
tossing ideas back and forth. I'll be like, oh, this will work. You'll be like, no, it won't. And then we'll post it, we'll test the results. Like, that shit, bro, I crave that shit. Like, I loved comparing stats. Like, that's how we got into it, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, and to be able to help people on top of that, which is like, also my passion, right? Like, just I love helping people, love being empathetic, love putting myself in other people's shoes, and you do too, which is why like we've always made businesses together. So it's like to be able to share that passion, turn it into this journey of becoming entrepreneurs, becoming business owners, and us falling in love with it on the way has been the most amazing process. But it wasn't easy.
Nah, 100% it wasn't. Like it took time, it took hard work and dedication to get to the point where we think we're we're settled, like right now we're settled,
Yeah,
but
we're settled.
we're
Yeah,
not confident. You know what I mean? Like we're enjoying the
100%. I
process, but
agree.
we're not confident. Like today
Mm.
is up. Like Fridays are is our planning days for the week, and
Yeah.
so we're up early in the morning. Like Fridays is the days I'm always looking forward to, because that's the
Mm.
day where we create content, we do all our
Bounce
shit
off
for
each
the week.
other and stuff
You know
like
what I mean?
that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like the shit that we enjoy doing, and that's what we mean about enjoying the process, like doing the shit that you love while you're doing it. Yeah.
For sure. And like everything we've done
Mm.
right now,
Yeah.
compared to our goals, we're like 0.01% of the way. You know what I
100%.
mean?
Yeah.
So the problem with falling in love with the results is that you start to give yourself like really short-term goals or really short-term things, and then you feel really successful when you achieve them, which is good. Positive self-talk is good, all that shit's good, but you start to move down. Your effort starts to drop. The more you feel rewarded, the more you're less gonna work. I love when people compliment us. Don't get me wrong. I love when people say we're doing well, blah blah blah. But when you're in that position, like you're the person doing it, you can't listen to the hate or the love. You have to
100%.
look at it objectively. You have to look at where you are in the market and if the market actually gives a fuck about you, because that's the cold world, bro. That's the cold world. Doesn't
Definitely.
matter how fucking official you are. Doesn't matter how much money you got. If you're not producing shit that the market likes, no one cares. So no one cares that you posted carousels for a week. No one cares that you finally got your Instagram account out. There's millions of people who have done that, right? And
100%.
that's the harsh reality of the process. That's why people give up midway, because they're mentally not there. They're mentally not prepared to be second, third, fourth, fifth on the process. They want to come first at like from the start, but it's really not like that.
It'd be like that, bro. Like you're gonna get hate either way. So like
Exactly.
put yourself in a position where you start like enjoying the hate. So don't go like putting yourself down just because you're getting a few Karens in your comments saying, "Oh, your shit doesn't matter." This that. You know
For
what I mean?
sure, for sure.
Like
And
use that to
yeah,
grow.
for sure. And like the thing is, out like the journey, like falling in love with the process, it's
Yeah.
not falling in love with the hard parts, right? It's
Mm.
not falling in love when you don't make sales for a whole fucking month. It's not falling in love with the part where you don't feel motivated. It's not that part.
Yeah.
It's like it's the fact that you could look within yourself to be grateful that you took yourself on this path. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the fact that we're here, sitting here today, being able to talk to an audience, and then afterwards we're gonna go work on some content for clients or ourselves. That means the world to me,
Hundred
because
percent.
it's being able to do something that we love
Mm.
and to put it into a business and to be able to help people, right? Like it's three in one, right?
Exactly.
And I think for me, the most important thing about falling in love with the process
Mm,
is understanding the value of the chance that you're given to do this, because not a lot of people are. You know,
100%.
most
100%.
people would prefer to live mundane lives. They don't have that confidence. They don't have that ambition to go do the shit that other people are doing.
Exactly. And the fact that like people get up and do the shit they do is just like crazy because a lot of people like just waste time and don't do it, or if
Yeah,
they, if like as much as they love what they're doing, when they
yeah,
don't see results they just give up.
yeah,
And when you do, when you, what we mean about like falling in love with the process is that there's going to be setbacks, there's going to be failures, there's going to be times where you just don't want to get up and do what you do, right? But
yeah.
that's the thing about falling in love with the process. It's falling in love with it even when you're not seeing results. Like Mark said, like not getting sales in a month. Like
Mm,
you still got to fall in love with that. You got to like find ways to build on that and make and see like what went wrong, and
100%.
that's what it's all about. And Vanessa here said, yeah, it's literally win-win situation.
like
That's all right.
like on a practical sense, like me and
Mm,
Mark, we obviously have to sit down, discuss content, discuss what we're gonna post, whatever. Man, when we're sitting there, the
mm.
way we're bouncing ideas off each other, like every single second, we literally have a Facebook chat where we just start writing down ideas because they come so quick because we're so excited.
Yeah,
Like, because our whole life we've been planning shit, bro. How many times have we planned things and not executed? Now
100%.
that we finally made that courage to execute on one thing, like it repeats itself. And I always talk about making that habit because once your brain is able to execute on one thing, you can execute on multiple things, right?
Definitely.
And like even today, bro, we were
Mm,
sitting there and we are talking about that piece of content I was telling you about, and
mm.
I came up with that idea that like no one's doing, right? And bro, like the way I was screaming on the call
Uh,
to you, like, bro, I can't believe this. I can't believe,
straight in the
like,
morning as well.
literally, like, who the
Yeah,
fuck has that much energy? I can't
yeah,
remember the last time I smiled while doing my uni assignment. You know,
mm.
can you?
Nah, bro, I'm just crying every
Literally,
day
I got my
non-stop.
tissues next to me, bro.
Bro.
Literally, and like it's a long process. At the end of the day, depending on your goals, depending on your ambitions and your passion, like our passion of helping small businesses around the world, we're not even halfway there yet. We're not even a quarter of the way there yet. Like we've helped so many businesses, you know, in America and Australia, wherever, but we're not to the goal where we want to be, right? Which is the
Exactly.
main reason we started Zorius Media. We wanted to help out. We wanted to provide this type of content to people going through the same struggles that we went through. Because the reality of it is, it's fighting that depression, fighting that, because it's you're really alone. You have nothing to fall back on when you're running your own business. You know,
Yeah.
you're the CEO of CEOs. You know, like you take full liability for all the wins and you take full liability for all the
All
losses.
losses, 100%.
And if you can't fall in love with that and you can't trust yourself to be that, then don't do this. Like honestly, don't do it.
Yeah, and like don't get us wrong, like like starting a business and shit like that is not for everyone. Like some people
100%.
just they enjoy going to uni, getting a job, this that. There's nothing wrong with that. If we didn't have people like that, we wouldn't have doctors, we wouldn't have, you know, like all that
Exactly.
people that work in those other places. And
That's
there's
right.
nothing wrong with that.
It's not for everyone.
Yeah.
It's literally not for everyone. Like people would rather work under people, earn like a decent job, go watch Netflix and chill out for the rest of their life. That's fine. Like
It,
there's literally no problem, but they can't complain. They have
yeah.
to be satisfied with their life. You know what I mean?
Like
And
some things just make people, some people happy, but then it doesn't make other, like, you know what I mean? Like
mm,
like the example you just mentioned, go into a
yeah,
9 to 5, then watching Netflix all day.
yeah,
If you're enjoying doing that, then I mean that's your life. You know what I mean? Like
that's
you
right.
don't have to change for anyone. But if you're that person out there that complains that your life, oh, you're not doing well, this that, oh, I don't have money, this that, or like my business is not going well. Well, if you're working 8 hours for someone and then going home and watching Netflix, then what does that mean? It means that
Yeah,
you're not caring about your business.
100%.
You're not you're not trying the process in order to enjoy it. So that's like that's what it
Yeah,
is.
but people that
Mm,
hate the process before it even starts, like we're not even
yeah.
in the process, you know?
Mm,
Like we could do 1 week of consistent work,
yeah.
and that's 1% of
Yeah.
a percent of a percent of a percent
Yeah.
of what we're meant to be doing. You know what I mean?
100%. I know what you
So
mean. I know what you mean.
I'm not comparing like ourselves to other
Yeah.
people. I'm comparing ourselves to the goals we're trying to achieve, right?
Exactly.
And it's like we have to think of it that way, or else we won't be motivated. Like I'm not gonna get up in the morning if I know that I'm halfway through because I'm like, fuck, bro, I did pretty well. Let me take a break. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
100%.
to keep myself on my toes at all times is a hard thing, and
Yeah.
it's not a soft thing. It's not
No.
something easy, and it's not something people mentally are
Mm.
all happy to deal with. No one's happy to wake up
No.
and try to do something that they don't know is gonna succeed. No one's happy, right? No one's happy to do that. But it's the process, right? It's the
Exactly.
bouncing back. When shit fails, it
Mm.
kind of makes me like, oh, okay, I get it now. Like, we should have done that different. Or, oh, okay, like if that didn't work, then maybe we could try this. Like when me and you argue about a post, I tell you, nah, bro, that content,
Yeah.
cut it. It's not gonna work. You're like, bro, let's post it and see. We post it, bro. What the fuck? People are loving that shit.
Exactly.
And then you tell me I'm wrong, and I end up being right. And we learn, right? And we
Mm.
learn, and we love that shit. We don't cry when it fails. If both of our ideas failed, we would have learned more than when if one of them succeeded, right? And so I just want people to understand, stop romancing yourself with the results because of social media. Stop looking
Yeah.
at the Lamborghinis, the mansions, and everything. Start looking at the sleepless nights, bro. Honestly,
Exactly.
start looking at the nights where you're literally sitting there laying in your bed, uncertain of your future. You know,
Yeah.
when you're in uni,
Mm.
yeah, you're uncertain if you're gonna get a job, but you're certain that you can go to uni the next day to study.
Yeah.
I'm not certain that tomorrow when I post, people are gonna come watch. I'm not certain about that. I'm not certain everyone watching is gonna like, follow, and subscribe our shit. Right? We're not
Yeah.
certain about that.
Oh,
But we
but
do it. Yeah.
sorry to
But
cut
they
you
will.
off. But by the way, 75% of you who are watching on YouTube are not subscribed. So you
Yeah.
know what it is. Subscribe.
Click that subscribe button.
Anyway,
Talking
continue.
about you guys. Yeah, like literally, like it's like we're not, it's living a life of uncertainty, right? People struggle in relationships because they're so like, some of them are flimsy, right?
Yeah.
They don't know how it's gonna go. That's exactly how a relationship is. That's exactly how running a business is. I was reading an article on LinkedIn today, and an entrepreneur said, she made a plant-based vegetables. I forgot what, a plant-based food or something, right?
Yeah.
Became a millionaire out of Australia. And so a news reporter asked her, like, what's it like being an entrepreneur? Solo run business. She has thousands of clients. She has people pack the boxes, but she does everything by herself, right?
Yeah.
And she asked, like, how could you describe entrepreneurship? She said, imagine a non-stop anxiety attack rolling over into every single day that never ends. And bro, I felt that. Like, I literally felt that because you
Oh
get
my
that anxiety
days.
when you make that post, bro, when you do something risky and you don't know how it's going to perform. But then it's the after effects. It's how you react to it. It's the ability to fall in love with the fact that you took the courage to do it, you know?
Yeah.
And
I know what you mean, bro. And like, I got a crazy quote from David Goggins, and I always bring him up because like that guy is straight out inspiration. Like, with
right.
no matter what industry you're in, that guy is straight out motivation.
Yeah.
He says, "Do something you hate every day," and he
Mm.
continued on saying, "This phrase is more than a lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's a simple saying. Even though people don't believe me, I always said I hate all physical activity other than weightlifting. I
Yeah.
believe
Yeah.
there is no better way to grow as a person than to do something you hate every day." Now,
100%.
for the people that don't know David Goggins, this guy has run triathlons, marathons. He's run 200 miles with
Mm.
no stop at once. Yeah, he competed for that shit. And
Yeah.
200 miles, bro. That's like 390 k's or some shit like that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's like from here halfway to Sydney and shit. Now this guy hated doing that. He hates that shit, but he does it because he wants to see what his body pushes. Like, he pushes his body. So what we're saying is, if like you want to see results in your industry, but you hate the process, then just do it every day. Do something you hate. Like, even though like it's your passion to make it in that industry, but you hate the work, do something in with your work that you hate every day, which will get you closer to your like goals and shit.
100%. And
Yeah.
like, it's adaptive, right? Like,
Mm.
you could like a niche but not like the way they teach it or the way everyone else is doing it, and you could change it up to the way you like it. Let me
Yeah.
give an example. I like writing articles a lot, so I write a lot more of them than what I do other content, right,
Yeah.
for our
Yeah.
business.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like it's not that, we neglect the rest. We just choose our time. When you find something that you have an upper hand on, you have to emphasize on that.
Yeah.
And when you find your weak points, you work on them, but not as much as you emphasize your strong points, because that's the points that people are going to recognize. That's the points that differentiate you from other people, right? And it's like, there are hard things. Like, we like you guys seeing us happy to do what we do is kind of fake in the way that you don't see what goes behind the scenes, right?
Mhm.
Like, yeah, we're happy to do like the podcast and everything, but obviously we have those stressful nights. Obviously, we have those nights where we're like, bro, what the fuck do we do, right? Like, we're struggling. Sometimes you run into content block. People run into content block, right? Like, it's happened before where we like the content, but we don't know how it's gonna perform, or we like the content, but it's not to our usual standard, right? And it's like that's the normality of it. Every single day is another struggle, right? It's not easy. Like
Yeah.
doing this shit is not easy, but it's the results of satisfaction, or the feeling that you get when you do it
Mhm.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And the difference between falling in love with the mini, like the goals that you achieve
Mm.
and the process, as opposed to falling in love with the Lamborghinis and the mansions, is that the Lamborghinis and the mansions don't end. The money doesn't
100%.
end. The goals don't end.
Yeah.
I could sit here and list 60 things I want,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I want to go to fucking Dubai. I want a Lamborghini. I want a
Yeah.
mansion. I want this. I want that, right?
Yeah.
And um, it's like that never ends, and it doesn't give you a reachable point, right? And
Yeah.
when you don't achieve it, you don't feel warm inside. You don't feel happy to go
Definitely.
do it,
Definitely.
right? And I think that's the biggest difference between where I was when I first started this business to where I am now. I understand why I've fallen in love with it.
And let me tell you, when you start something, and then like when you start something, how do I say it? When you start, I'm so tired today that like I actually can't like
Yeah,
talk. Yeah, like when you start something and you're new in it, but it's like what you want to do. Sometimes you're literally like just lost, and
yeah,
being lost makes you like not want to do that shit. Like it's
yeah,
you don't want to get out of bed to go do it because you just don't know where to start or something like that. And
yeah, for sure.
that's like, of course, that shit, like that was like us a few months ago where we're just like, fuck, like I don't want to do this, like I just don't know where to start this, that, like
Yeah,
even with today, like we had, like I had to make a new design for our content that we're putting on Instagram. And
yeah,
sometimes, like as much as you hate it, you start falling in love with it because you start like you start doing research that helps you, and that research, then you're like, shit, okay, now I understand this. And then
mm,
you implement that to your own strategy, and you're like, shit, now that's working. And then you just keep going, and then you see something that doesn't work, you fix it. You see this that, you just fix it. It's
it's like the process.
yeah, it's like you got to start out first, and then
Mm,
that will determine like where you're gonna be. Like you can't
for,
just be like, oh, I hate this, I hate doing this shit. You gotta
yeah,
actually start, and what we mean by that is actually go and take action, and then decide whether you like like the process of doing your shit or not. You know what I mean?
for sure. And it's like we're not trying to deter people from taking this path, right?
Yeah,
I think everyone's capable with the right amount of work, but who's willing to do the work with no like give back from the market, bro? The market's cold. Like people say the world's cold, bro. The market's fucking cold, bro. You
100%.
could work on something for 7 hours and receive no engagement from it if you've posted at the wrong time, if you haven't targeted the right audience, if you're not actually providing value. How many Instagram accounts do we see posting daily that do jack shit, right?
Yeah, of
It
course. Yeah,
happens. It happens. People won't be able to deal with that, right? Gary Vee was talking about it. Depression, suicide, these things are all real in the entrepreneurship world because people are not happy to be second, third, fourth, fifth, or sixth, but they're also not happy to put their work in to be first, right?
yeah,
And I think this romantic relationship between people and the results is what's going to kill the industry and going
yeah,
to kill people
definitely.
from achieving what they want, right?
Yeah,
And so I say this now because every daily podcast we do, guys, is 1%. Every
100%.
post we make is 0.1%,
Mm.
right? We have a long way to go, but we're willing to put in the work, and like we've come to terms with it, right? And it took us long. Like it took me long specifically, right?
Yeah,
To come to terms with the fact, bro, I'm not in my Lambo yet. Where's my Lambo at, bro? You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, so it's really about understanding your relationship. It's literally like a real relationship. What are the pros and cons of what you are doing? Is
yeah.
the process something that you want to wake up to every day, right?
Mm.
Just like you wake up to your wife every day. Is waking up stressed about your business something that you want to do every day, and never know when it's finally going to get the recognition that it deserves, right? And I
100%.
think entitlement is a huge thing as well, which we'll talk about in another episode, right? I
Definitely.
just revealed that. But for sure, like
Mm.
the process of building your brand, building your business is not an easy process. And the main reason for that is we can map out what we think is the best, right? And even the best business planner in the world can map out what they think is best. But at the end of the day, the market is it changes every day,
100%.
right? Market changes every day. Some things that would have been accepted last week are not being accepted this week, right? And I think the process of that needs to be emphasized in people's minds when they try to take this venture.
Definitely. And we're getting to closing the episode real soon, and I just wanted to touch on our last point. I'm gonna call out Mark for this. So I don't know if everyone out there that's watching saw Mark's Snapchat today with me saying
that was on my private. That was on my private.
It was on his private. Okay, so Mark, so I told Mark that we were gonna be coming out with a lot of pieces of content for one of the platforms, and
it was a big number. It was fucking huge. It was huge.
It's a big number, but you gotta go with it. And then Mark was like, no, that's just too much. And then I told him, like, all right, do you want to make it or do you not? Because that's fine with me if you don't. You just don't have to make it. And you know what he said? He said, nah, I want to make it. So what it takes is pushing yourself to the stars, bro, to the moon, to be able to like make it. Because if you look at it, right, you're like right now you're gonna be thinking that you're doing a lot of work, you're putting in a lot of time, but I bet you $1,000 right now that there's someone out there working 2 maybe 10 times harder than you are. And trust me, it's facts. And like, I'm not saying we work hard, no, trust me, like sometimes we're like dead, but like we're working on that. Like we're speaking on these topics because
it's relevant to us.
It's relevant. It's what like we like, it's like we like, how do I say it? Like you guys relate to us, you know what I mean? And what did he say?
I'll just touch on one more point.
Johan said, all right boys, thoughts on buying root stock just before root vegetable season comes through.
That's the moon man right there. Anyway, we'll just continue the episode and pretend we didn't read. So I'll just touch on one last point and then we'll wrap it up. Like the thing is, guys, that our passion drives us, right? And if your passion isn't strong enough to wake you up in the morning, then maybe it's not for you, right? But there's no harm in trying. I'm not deterring people away from trying. I'm deterring people away from acting. You have to be honest with yourself. In a way, you can't be entitled. You have to be self-aware, but you also have to know what you're worth. It's very confusing. It's 3 very contradictory statements. But when you understand right in the middle that 1, the market does not give a fuck about you. 2, that your content is good, but no one has recognized it yet. And 3, you're entitled to nothing in this world. Then that's when you start to create content at a good rate. And that's when you actually start to push through the process and fall in love with it. And if you guys want to know about like tips on like, if you're in that process where you're struggling to fall in love with the process, the number 1 thing I'd advise is try different things. Don't try the first route all the time. Let me tell you something. This 30-minute podcast every day, the way it is moved waves for me and Mark is crazy. Like different things, even unrelated to the business, right? The trends that I'm going on because of being able to do this daily is amazing, right? Because it's built that confidence, it's built that ability to do something repeatedly in a habit. And now we transfer that to our business. Now we transfer that to our real life, and it all goes over, right? We've fixed like, you know, kind of our personal habits, the issues with our personal habits, moving it over to business. And now we've fallen in love with the process, right?
100%.
And that's about it. That's basically the main point we wanted to get through. Everyone that's falling in love with the results, cut the shit, be real, be objective about where you are in your goal. We're 0.1% every single day, and we're going to be that. But inshallah, one day we will make it to that point where I can say that we're like 50%, 60%, and one day we're going to be 100%. But 100%. Even then, it's still not enough.
That's it. So this is the end to another episode. I know you guys want to hear more, but today we're cutting it short. We'll see you guys all tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a good topic. I know that Mark did mention it. So if you want to listen, go back and then you'll find out what it's all about. Do you have any closing remarks, Mark?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys so much for coming to watch Hit It Where It Hurts every day. Love you all. Appreciate the support. You guys are pushing through our passion, which is like means the world to us. Make sure you go like, follow, subscribe. We're posting on Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram, fucking everything, right? So just go check it out. Go see what content you like. And yeah, hope to see you tomorrow. Have a good night. Peace out. Don't fall in love with the results, fall in love with the process.
Also, shout out to Bitmoon. Everyone who's into NFTs, go get you a Bitmoon.
We're bullish on